Hey everyone. In this part we're going to continue where we left off from our last tutorial. So we are going to start with a couple of things that are called figure and floater. So the description says figure and floater are used to embed content in flow documents with placement properties that can be customized independent of the primary content flow. Figure and floater elements are often used to highlight or accentuate portions of the content, to host supporting images or other content within the main content flow, or to inject loosely related content such as advertisements. Okay? Alright, so having said that, I'm going to start with an example. So what I want to do is, if you've seen my thumbnail, probably this will look familiar. So I'm going to go inside this first paragraph here, okay, and add a figure tag. Okay, you can't use this directly inside the flow document. It has to be inside the paragraph or another element. Okay, so figure, we added the tags. Now I'm going to copy let's say something that relates to, let's see, I had something here. Let me zoom this in. I think I lost it. Let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna copy a sentence from here. That says figure is a good place to put standalone content where you want to control the size and the positioning and are confident that the content will fit in the specified size. So I'm just going to copy that sentence and paste inside the figure. I'm not sure if we can directly, no, I can't do that. I have to add another paragraph inside there. So first add another paragraph tag, I believe, and then we can paste it here. So now we add the figure. Now I want this figure to take a little portion of the main paragraph here. So I'm gonna say something like width. Let's set the width. And this is interesting. I could say 0.5 column. This is relative to the column width. As you can see, it just took half the size of the column. Okay, let me actually give it a background so it's easier to see where it stands. Let's go with page again. There you have it. Okay, so this is the figure. That's what it means. It says it's a good place to put standalone content that where you want to control the size and positioning and all that good stuff. Okay, so you get the idea. Now here we can also anchor this. We could say anchor. I can't remember the exact word. Let's see. Left. Column. Can't remember the property right now. Anyway, it'll come back to me. So this can be relative to the column, relative to the page, relative to the content. You could say, I believe you can say 0.5 of the content. 0.5 content. I'm pretty sure that gives a different look. I think the column is the best. So 0.5 column. Alright, I gotta figure that out. I gotta find the I think it was anchor. Let me look at the properties here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna open the properties tag. Should be too hard to find here. The layout, width, height. As you can see, this is the one I just added, 0.5 column. Let me see. Okay, there you go. So horizontal anchor. Okay, so horizontal anchor, I could say column left. This one position over here. The other options are column center and column right. We could say column center, that will center the column. Okay, but I think in this case column left is pretty good, so I'm going to stick with column left for now. Okay, other properties, let's see. We have vertical anchor, which sets the top or bottom. So the options are page top, page center, page bottom, content top, content center, content bottom, and paragraph top. If we go with content center, let's say, now you can see the placement changed. Okay, right, so these are the, I think, most important properties. I mean, the rest you're already familiar with, I'm pretty sure. Border, border brush, all that stuff. So I'm not going to get into those. Baseline alignment. Now, I'm not going to get into too many properties right now because we have still a lot more to cover. But those are the, I think, main ones about the figure. Okay. So I'm just going to make this paragraph top, I think. That's fine. Okay, for our next example, I'm going to add another paragraph at the bottom. Okay, and add some text. I'm going to grab some text from here and paste inside the paragraph. Okay, let's run this. Okay, so we have our text in here. Now I'm gonna add a floater. So for a floater, I'm gonna just add something here, right in between the text. Just gonna say floater, open, close, and then I'm gonna bring in an image. So let me get the file path from here and add an image tag and give it a source. Well, can't add image tag directly to floater, so I'm gonna add a paragraph tag first and then image tag. Okay, and give it a source, which is our path. I think we have an error here. Kind of doubled it. Alright, so this, I think I don't need the second source tag, I don't need that. And at the end we have here, I don't need this one, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. Alright, so it has a size of 150 and the path. Very simple. So if I do this correctly, this should add the image in the middle of this text. Okay, let's run this and see what happens. Let's go to page 3, and there it is. Okay, it's not completely in the center, but it adjusts by itself as it says find place to fit in. It will adjust it. Let's say if I change the size to something like 100, let's try that. So it changed a little bit more. I don't think it has a, let me see, horizontal, see if this has horizontal alignment. Let's go with center. Let's try this way. And horizontal alignment actually brought it into center. Okay. Alright, so that's figure and floater. And we are going to continue with some other good stuff. I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff, it's just too much text. Taking too much space. So for our next example, I'm gonna add another paragraph. You know what, actually I'm gonna start adding from top instead of adding from the bottom. So I'm gonna go right here and add a paragraph. Okay, and let me build this so we can have the first page up here. Okay. Alright, so for this guy I'm gonna grab another sentence from here. It's a quote. Let's see, got pretty good stuff here. Let's start with Benjamin Franklin. Let's copy this. Okay, and paste right in here. Alright, so we got a nice quote here. I'm gonna get a background. Oh, let's say background of lavender. Okay. Now we're gonna get into some properties of the paragraph. Not the common ones that everybody knows. Well, some of them maybe. So let's go to with font style or font family actually. Well, let's go with font style. Let's go with oblique. Okay, so we got italic, and here I want to actually make the word liberty bold. Okay, this will probably look familiar to you because we have done this once before when we did the text block. I think this may look very familiar if you have seen that text block tutorial. So I'm gonna go, oopsie, Control KS and add a tag, a new tag around this word liberty, and it's going to be bold. Okay, now the word liberty is bold. Okay, cool. So that's that. Let's do one more example. Well, actually a few more examples. And I'm gonna grab another one. Let's see. Let's go with Let's go with George Washington. Oh, you know what? This guy here. Let's try this guy. This guy is pretty good. Alright, let's add another paragraph and paste our content. Okay, so with this one, what I want to do is, let's say I want to just highlight this part. Okay. In that case, I could do something like add a new tag and say span, add a span tag, and then give it a background of yellow. Okay, let's build this again. Now this part is highlighted. Okay, alright, let's add one more. And this time let's go with George Washington. You know what? No, I'm gonna go with, let's go with Shakespeare. Okay, so with this one, I want to change the size on the letter T. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna say Control KS, add the span tag, and change the font size to, let's see, 22. Let's build it. Okay, now this T here stands out. It's larger than the rest of the content. Okay, so there are a lot of things you could do with this, just to give you a few ideas. Alright, so that's that. Let's look at a couple of more examples. I'm gonna go back to our list and I'm gonna open the properties pane. Here I'm looking at the miscellaneous. You're looking at the property called marker style. So this one determines what shows for in front of our list items. The default is disk, and we have a bunch of other options. We can go with the square, box, and all others. Let's try box and see what happens. Now we got this property set here, marker style. This property is kind of funny. If you try to type it, well, it shows up. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so let's check the box and get rid of that extra double quote and run it. As you guessed, now instead of the disk we have the box here. It's filled box. If you want the empty one, I think it's the other options. I think square doesn't have the fill, I think. Just like disk and circle. One of them has the fill, one of them doesn't. Okay, or you can go with lower, let's see, Roman. And now we got the Roman stuff. Okay, that's that. Then for the paragraph, let's say this paragraph here, there's a couple properties. Actually, one of them There are two of them that I want to touch on real quick. Let's say right here I want to say what was the property? Keep together. Okay, we can set this true. This should keep the paragraph together. Okay, so if you resize your window, it keeps that paragraph together instead of splitting into different columns, things like that. Okay, so that's that. Or there's another one called keep with next. This one will keep it to the next or keep it with the next column. I think if I can select that, set this is true, well, it's in the next column. So in case, I guess it's about to split, if you instead of this you have this one, I will keep with the next column if it's about to split between the two columns. Okay, so that's that. Also, let me see what else do I have here. Text indent. I think we can do that too, right? Let's try that on let's see. And we can try that on this one here maybe. Let's see, paragraph, where was it? Free speech. Alright, let's see, text indent. Let's say 20. Now we see indentation here. Okay, so that's that. What else? Let's resize this to 100%. For the next one, I'm gonna copy a bunch of stuff from here to this whole paragraph. I'm gonna copy and paste that I was working with before. I'm just gonna copy right here. Okay, I'm gonna build this and run it. So you see all this good stuff here. That's what that was for. So let's take a look real quick. So one of the key is select this font family, Paladino Linotype. Okay, that's one of the important things you need to remember. A certain font type has to be selected, and this is the one. And then so the first part goes into paragraph, and the second part, that's like this one, is powers. It's inside the run. Okay, and there's a property called typography with variance, and you set that to superscript for this guy and like inferior for the other one, which lowers the number. And then we have a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna post this in my blog and post the link in the description so you can work with it or copy and paste it into your projects. Okay, I think that's it for this tutorial. I'll see you in the next one. All right, take it easy.